Thank you, Chair. Mrs. Rajavi, dear colleagues, and my very dear Iranian friends. I'm very happy that once again we can welcome the President, Mrs. Rajavi, here in our Parliament today. In a world where everybody seems to be afraid of the mullahs and their aggressions both inside the countries and abroad, you, Mrs. Rajavi, you are leading a movement that stands for real freedom, democracy and equality in Iran. And what happened in Ashraf, we saw the pictures here again on September 1st, was truly a crime against humanity. And there are plenty of signs that the attack was carried out by Iraqi forces. For instance, and it's just one instance, the attackers had to pass through numerous checkpoints controlled by the Iraqi army to reach the camp and its residents. So the questions we ask ourselves today are, firstly, why 3 months after this attack, no results have been published of a truly independent investigation into this crime? And secondly, why has nobody been arrested and brought to justice for committing this horrible crime? A third question we can ask, why has the Iraqi government not been held accountable? Finally, and maybe most importantly, why has there been no action taken by the UN, the US government and the EU to bring about the release of the 7 hostages? We must raise our voice and ask our government to seriously raise the matter with the UN and the US government and with the EU. We must tell them we're not happy with their silence and urge them to act immediately to release the hostages. I finally use this opportunity to express my solidarity once again with all the brave men and women, 3,000 people of the PMOI who are still left in Camp Liberty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam the President, honorable senators and MPs, I was the Chief of Human Rights Office of UNAMI from 2009. 2009 is the year the Americans handed over the Camp Ashraf to the Iraqi government. And on the very same day, the Iraqi government took control of Camp Ashraf. They made a declaration, and it's on record. They said that they will make their life unbearable to push them out of Iraq. When we came to move the residents of Ashraf to liberty, let me tell you that it was a decision taken basically by the ambassador, the Iranian ambassador in Baghdad, and implemented by the Prime Minister al-Maliki, helped and assisted by UNAMI, including my office. So we were there to close Camp Ashraf and help and assist the government of Iraq to implement its declared policy to make their life unbearable. So it's really up to you actually in this meeting to put pressure and to demand that UNAMI should move and find these people. And I could tell you, and I'm responsible about what I'm saying, if they need help, I will help them. I will tell them where to go, because they are there. And it's the Prime Minister's office who is in charge, nobody else. The Minister of Interior, the Minister of Defense, the Ministry of Justice are not involved. It's the Prime Minister's office. So if we need to put pressure, it's on that office. They must free these people. And I could tell you that United Nations, the diplomatic missions in Baghdad, all of them, including the United States of America, they all know where the abducted people are. It's a question of marchandage. they have a deal to make with the Iranian government and the Prime Minister al-Maliki. They are making deals. But if they want to free these people, they will. I thank you very much.
What happened in Ashraf, and as it was said, it's a crime against humanity, which is provided for in Article 7 of the statute of the ICC. Even if Iraq is not a state party to the ICC statute, however, it could be quite possible for the ICC to have jurisdiction on this crime if the case was brought, if the situation was brought to the court by the Security Council. It's quite possible. The Security Council did that already for Sudan Darfur in 2005. They did the same for Libya in 2011. It could be quite possible that the same happens with Iraq. And I think I'm really referring to the distinguished senators who are in this room to urge the government to ask that the question be brought to the agenda of the Security Council. That the case, that this terrible situation be brought to the ICC through a referral by the Security Council on the basis of Article 13, little b, of the ICC statute. It's quite, legally, it's quite possible. There is only a problem, of course, of legal, excuse me, not legal, of political will of the member states of the Security Council.
The nuclear discussions are almost daily a headline, while other problems are touched upon much less. The challenges the Iranian society faces are plenty, and the respect for basic human rights is at the core of these. As it has been stated by international organizations, during 2012, Iran officially acknowledged 314 executions. But now, in 2013, I am told at least 367 executions have taken place in less than 6 months, only since Rouhani came to office in June 2013. In dealing with this regime, we cannot separate the two issues of nuclear and human rights. What is happening to the people in Ashraf and now in Liberty? It is a serious humanitarian issue that worries me a lot. There is more and more evidence that the Iraqi government, who has become increasingly close to the neighboring regime of Iran, commits serious crimes against these people, going as far as killing them. Amnesty International has confirmed that the 7 hostages abducted during massacre of the 1st of September are in the hands of Iraqi security forces. They are at risk of torture and other ill treatment and could be forcibly returned to Iran, says Amnesty International in its statement. Yet we don't see enough statements or actions to address this issue.
By looking at Rouhani's record in the first 150 days in office, things will become more clear. More than 300 executions. This is almost the double rate of executions during Ahmadinejad. So there is no doubt that we are not facing a moderate president in Iran. He is only there to save the regime and not the people. In my view, if the 3+3 talks had acted more decisively in Geneva, we would have been able to put an end to Iran's dangerous nuclear program, which of course is aimed at obtaining nuclear weapons. Therefore, my concern is that if the Western leaders do not hold a firm position towards Iran in the months ahead, they will be sending a green light to Rouhani to continue to increase the number of executions. Our government and EU must force Iraq to release the 7 hostages abducted by Iraqi forces during the 1st September massacre. The massacre must be independently investigated by an international body. and the protection of Camp Liberty must be guaranteed by UN forces. There is no time for further delay. We need immediate action. I thank you.
Thank you very much for coming to our meeting today. Amnesty International has confirmed that 7 Iranian exiles are abducted on the 1st September and are now to be held by the Iraqi security forces in Baghdad. They are at risk of torture and other ill treatment and could be forcibly returned to Iran. Meanwhile, there are hundreds of Iranians who have been on hunger strike for 93 days. I deplore that the international community gives barely attention to resolve the security of the residents in Camp Liberty and says nothing to end the suffering of the 7 hostages. Therefore, we urge our government in Belgium, and also we call on the EU, especially President Van Rompuy, my friend and our friend, and Baroness Ashton to ask the Iraqi government to release the 7 refugees.